We will go ahead and stand. Yeah, I'm doing this backwards, so we will pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You want to bow your heads, please?
Father, we thank you for this day and for the blessings we've enjoyed. We thank you for the beauty of the day. Thank you for this opportunity to get together and look at issues that are facing our water department, guide us in all that we do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
We can get a roll call and determination of a quorum, please.
Heather Bay,
Present.
Kendra Shepherd,
Present.
Mark White,
Here.
Jack Gonzalez,
Here.
Susie Parker Harper, Lonnie Taylor is out.
Of the country.
And we have a quorum. I do need to note to the board, I apologize for the clerical error on my part. The agenda you received had one line extra that I meant to cancel off, so.
It's taken off.
And it's taken off, and it has been taken off this copy. It was talking about something underneath the general manager's position on an old agenda that did not need to be there, so. I apologize for that. That's me trying to do the agenda for the first time. So I would like to put the general manager's position for the Hartsville-Trousdale County Water Sewer District Development Water, and yeah, I do need some grammatical corrections. Sorry about that, y'all. But anyway, general manager's position is on the agenda, and I'd like to update you all. We have a letter from Tommy McFarland, and he emailed us all and stated that this is a new contact person, and this is verbatim. This is a new contact person for the interim Tony Crook supervisor, interim manager. And it gives his phone number and Tony's email address. And then it also offers Emily Walker for office and bookkeeping with her phone number and her email address. He gave us his personal phone number and email as well. That is his recommendation to this board. Well, that was actually his notice to the public. It looked like there were a little over 300 people who had received the email. And I did get an email confirmation from the water department's attorney. I reached out to him and said, okay, does that mean that placing an interim person, does that mean that puts us at this meeting tonight, not determining if we need to do anything, since Tommy had already done that? And he says, in my opinion, the board needs to appoint whoever Tommy takes Tom's place, is what he says. And then he gives the sections within our bylaws and ordinance that we were our job description for this board was expanded on as a reference. And so, and he says he was giving a call, but anybody have any?
Just waiting for your guidance.
So we have a general manager's position. We have we're very blessed to have a great group of individuals who have come forward and offered to assist us in any way possible. Well, I'll say a great group of individuals who as possible.
Are we talking about an interim position?
We are talking about this second, the conversation is still in the interim position. And the reason this is so vague is this general manager's position needs almost two sections within this line here. We have the offer of Tony and Penny's offered her services, and do not know if I I've spoken with Jared Helm, he has offered his services, to offer for this position. Well, I'll say Jerry's offered to help however I can, and that's a quote, you know, that's what he's told me. And the 3 positions are interim positions that we're discussing at this moment. And so, as the attorney says, we can finish this because there's gonna have to be a part B, and that part B is we've got to find a long-term replacement. This is a short term, and it is an interim position. I would like to look at the compensation in a position, whoever does take this, that is not, that it's a blessing while they work that interim position. So, meaning if you put it in somebody's paycheck, then you take it away. We've had that in the past. I've been told by numerous phone calls this week that was very hurtful to that person. So if you give it to that person as a,
Whoa, how do you mean?
if you compensate them
To-
for the,
to take- for
to
them?
take, for them to take on the interim position.
But
And
then they,
then they leave that position, they don't keep it. And that needs to be understood from the moment they take it, that their compensation will be back to what they were prior to that responsibility.
And I thought in the last case it was, because I was on the board back then.
Okay.
But I guess.
So I've heard, then let me get out of people's hearsays. So I need to get out of people's hearsay. And I would like for us to format the compensation for this individual, whoever takes this position, so that it's a bonus and a benefit for them while they're in the seat.
does anybody know what we were paying Tommy?
Everybody's on the pay scale, it's on the wage study, and so I did not pull that information, because that's not a number that I was really looking for tonight.
No, I'm not saying pay the interim person that amount. I just felt like we could use that as a benchmark.
I don't.
Take into account the steps and all that, but
Oh, I agree, and I don't have that number on the table with me right now, and I would just.
sounds good to me.
Pretty sounds good to me. But if we go by the pay scale with the supervisor's position, I think the person should be compensated.
agree.
That's my opinion, and I just ask you all to speak freely in this moment.
I agree with that.
Because this is a huge,
If they're doing the job, they should be compensated accordingly. I have no issue with that whatsoever.
and I don't know if we can do it in a format of a bonus, so that it's not their paycheck, it's an extra compensation, or.
Don't call it that.
What?
Don't call it that.
Yeah, don't call it, okay, well, let's say, we'll look into what format it needs to be, the compensation needs to occur. To be proper. Because that's the intent, is I want to do it right by that I want us to do right by that person for taking on this extra responsibility.
Which comes first, chicken or egg? We're gonna talk about the money, we're gonna make the appointment. Then
I think the money's determined by the pay scale, by the wage study. That's how we're doing absolutely everybody else. And that's how Tommy followed.
But we don't have any of that information available to us right now.
No, I don't have it with me. But if you're comfortable with being compensated, because.
Well, I'm gonna say the person that's gonna take the position is gonna wanna know pretty
Well,
quick.
and we have our board meeting, we can break that up.
When, next week?
It's on that list.
He wants next week.
Yeah, that's right, we're already in May.
Mhm. So the 14th is our.
So the 14th will determine what the meeting is. But we're looking at an interim position, short term. That's what everybody's offered us help with. And I think that we've got an amazing group that can grow, that's already here. And, for the future as well.
I do think as a board though, we need to come up with some loose time frame so that the interim person has a general idea of how long they're looking at. Puts a little pressure on us to not let it simmer.
Then let's talk about B. Section B is the long-term position, so we're gonna need, if we do we want the whole board to be on the HR committee to determine who's gonna be hired? Or do we want a true committee within our board to work on that?
Fire committee shuffled through the resumes, got it down to like 3 or 5, I don't remember the numbers too long ago, and then brought those to the board.
Believe it or not, I deal with hiring and firing people all the time.
Well, then
I would
you're on
live-
that
You're on the
committee.
job. It's
But
your-
I was going to suggest, or at least ask the question, Evan White, would he be able to assist us in the search? Maybe
We can
help
ask,
establish some
we can-
guidelines,
we can
help
ask.
us figure out what we're looking for.
if not, our attorney that we have, retainer, Michael Law, can definitely do
I
that.
say we have both of them if we can.
Okay. And so when would we? Okay, when would we think would be a safe time to start advertising? Do we want to pull a month or two of data, a month, figuring out what? Or work together as a committee for a month to determine how we're gonna advertise and that kind of stuff for 2
I
months?
was gonna say
Get it out there.
at least a minimum 90 days.
Okay.
I was thinking 3 to 6 months. 6 months been on the long end, but at least 90 days, because you don't want to put too much pressure on us because you make a snap decision. I just think we're in a unique position as board to take our time to an extent, make a good hire the first time, so that we're not back here in 2, 3, 4 years doing this again, because I'm thinking about our 20-year plan. And if we're having to come back to this every couple of years, to me, it's going to distract from and hinder our 20-year plan.
Well, Tommy was here for 7, so it wasn't just 2.
And he's only going back home to be with family. I mean, it wasn't like he left for money or anything like that, so.
But I mean, 7 years is sometimes at this age, a long time.
These days, that's a big.
That's 100 years.
That's what I'm saying, it's not like we've had people come and go in 2 years and you wonder, not here, but,
And it may not be the case here, but I've seen it before where you have somebody for a while and then there's kind of a revolving door for a little bit until you.
It's a right.
Right. And I just feel like we have the luxury of intelligent people to make good decisions and hopefully hit it the first time.
So within 90 days, 90 days, we are advertising and marketing for the full-time position
within 90 days.
within 90 days.
Say 90 days on the far end.
And within short if possible, just so it's.
Shorter if possible, yes, yeah, the shorter the better, if it's done. Okay, I don't think we need a motion on that, I think that's just acknowledged for that person being paid.
I've never been involved in the hiring process for a position like this. I don't know if we're gonna get inundated with resumes or if we're gonna be out hand in hand, please come work here.
But they went through TAD and several other places, and like I say, and I think it was the executive committee that narrowed at the time, I think they took it, but narrowed it down to the qualified ones pretty quickly, and then maybe offered 5 to come in and 4 came in. One ended up not coming in, I remember, gosh. I can't remember, yeah, trying to think, there was one, I think that we didn't interview because there was some, part of this is play. You live in Charleston County, not live in Charleston County, how close to the county line do you need to be, how long is, back then, there was more talk about living within the county, and that was
Response times, eligibility,
there's nothing, can you live on the edge of Wilson County and still be here? Can you live on the edge of Macon County or Summit County and still be here? So that was a sticking point.
So I think
The mayor at the
I
time-
hear when I nominated you to be on the committee.
The mayor at the time was dead set on it being a Charleston County resident, and it may have been something because I had just redone bylaws I mean, I was new to it, so I couldn't tell you, do you remember?
Yeah, that wasn't in, I don't think that was in the law or anything, but I think that because to do the job right, you really need to be here. I mean, I think in this county, because at least willing to move here or be very close to the line, like you said, because it's a big responsibility and, you know, when they're out in the middle of the night, something's wrong, if they need you to go there, you need to be able to go there.
Well, I think it was suggested somebody had to be able to be here in 20 minutes, and that at the time, the compromise was, the mayor didn't like the compromise. And I may be wrong, and I'm saying Carol didn't, but there was a sticking point to that, and we were trying to put a, you know, that would put you on the edge of, you know, Littleton Road or whatever this is, just Sumner, you're still in Sumner County, but you're 231, you can still be here, you know, or right across the line in Macon County on the other side of Dr. County's house, so.
I think you'd want to guard against somebody living in Cookville.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying, that's why. we-
And trying to treat it as just a solely administrative job when it's more of a hands-on.
Well, it's got the text administrative part too, that's the part that people miss out on, that's a, you know,
I mean, I talked a lot about that.
administrative part,
Mhm.
yeah. And Tommy was, you know, definitely hands in the ground, you know, that's what he wanted to do, but.
But he was smart about it too.
No,
though.
he, no, he did that.
He understood, you know, you hire the right people, you let them do what they're supposed to do, and his job mainly was just to manage the people.
Yeah, that's the old, that's
Okay.
definitely,
Thank
we don't have to follow that, that's just,
It's good, it's great insight.
but there's a sticking point about that, where you live.
That's understandable. So we're looking at a committee to create, the guidelines and collect the resumes and report back to the board for the general manager's full-time position. Preferably, advertising within 90 days. And I don't think I don't think we need a motion on that or anything. I think that's just a great rule of thumb, and good for people to know. Now, what do we want to do with Tommy's general management position placement at Tony as the interim?
I do want to clarify something. I know
Okay.
you're saying interim, but I know we stayed away from interim before because if the person stepping in don't take this responsibility full time, that they do get to go back into their current role. Like,
Correct.
that, I just want to make sure that that is still the case, even though you're saying interim. You know what I?
Yeah, definitely. Whoever it is. If they're already employed here and they want to go back to their old position, then
Exactly.
Because we're not saying that they have to even apply
Yeah, they
for the
don't.
full-time position. It's not, I mean, that's not, I mean, whoever takes it may decide there's no way in the world I want it, so.
I just wanted to make that together.
yeah, definitely. Well,
Yeah.
I just like to make sure that my job is safe, that's all I care about, because I have a family and I work hard here, that's all I have.
Well, again, being a part of the last time, that was a different situation because the employee was offered the job permanently.
Okay.
And was told if he took the job permanently, he said, well, if I don't like it, I want my own job back. I do remember this conversation. And Mr. Woodmore was there, and he said, no, if you take the job, you're taking the job, and then we'll have to hire somebody to replace you. It had nothing to do with the interim part. But like here again, that's what you've heard, but I wasn't part of that too, yeah.
Okay.
So that's the.
That's good, that's, because I've always known interims, and I did a little research this week too, and
So it was really not the title, it was the fact that he was offered the job and then he wanted to, this was after he had filled in. And I think he wanted to test drive a few more months maybe,
Yeah.
so, and that, like I said, that was what, I think, I'm pretty sure it was Toby said, you know, you either want it or you don't, and if you take it, you know, we're gonna replace you, you're the boss. You know, so you can't fire the person who replaced you to go, but here again, you know, y'all are feeling, it's interim here, and you apply if you want it, don't want to apply, just see he's back on your job and be happy, so,
Sounds good, man.
that's. That here again, maybe I should send me on, I've talked about tonight.
No, you've been great insight because that's a perception that,
So then we're looking for a motion?
so do we want to take his letter as as a letter of recommendation?
Well, me personally, I mean, I respect Tommy's judgment.
Oh, I see.
I move that we follow his recommendation or what he's already done. I don't know how you want to word it, but. I mean, y'all search it up, you know, but
First, I want to thank everybody, this whole board and the staff for stepping up to the plate. Penny, you're the first one to call me, and I'm grateful.
at the end of the day,
Tony,
you've said it, we got good people.
you have amazing people,
And-
and that's the thing is that
Everybody understands it's bigger than the individual. So you don't find that everywhere.
That's the reason I stepped up, because I want to keep our people that we have. I want them to be happy. We have a great work crew. We have a lot of people with license, and we have a lot of people to go that will be able to get their license, and we want to keep those people. And that's why I stepped up to offer the interim, because I wanted to be sure that we didn't lose what we had. I didn't want to go backwards, I wanted to go forward as a department, so.
So the attorney, he states a statement here, says, you're just calling. Meaning Tony's letter is just calling Tony an interim general manager to signify that he may be removed. After the board goes through the search process, and I just want you to, you would understand that if that's what the board sees fit. And, so I point blank would like to ask you the question, are you comfortable with Tommy's letter as a letter of recommendation for you to take the position as an interim? Because I wouldn't want any movement on a letter with your name on it. And we appoint somebody in a position and they not want to go along, so. So, if I can have on record a yes or no for that, please.
Yes.
Then we can make the motion. Then what does this board see fit to do?
I recommend that we go with Tommy's recommendation. He's been the manager for 7 years. So he would know it would be best to make this work.
Yeah, but just to clarify again. We get down the road. Tony's interim. He applies for the permanent job. We have other applicants. We don't hire Tony. Tony can still go back to his old.
No, he did, that,
Right.
that was the whole circumstance last
Yeah.
time, and that was always understood. But the circumstance, what happened the last time was the job was offered to that person, and that person wanted to make a stipulation. If I don't like it, I want to go back to my old.
Yeah, I
And so
completely.
we could gotten past the interview, we got to, let's make an offer, and,
I'm just saying,
yeah.
we get 6 applicants, Tony's one of them. Somebody comes in here just stupid qualified, that's who we're going with. Again, and I mean, I know we've already said it, just to clarify, Tony's safe, he goes back to his old position.
And I think he knows that. Here, like I said, the kicker was that the job was offered, and when it was maybe offered, there was a counter offer back.
It's good having you here.
Well, I remember a few things now, I can't,
No, it is, it's good having you.
serve a purpose now. On a few days. But that was a tough go through that time. Because there was a lot of predisposed things done that didn't happen, that, whatever.
So we have a motion on the floor to take Tom's recommendation for the county clerk to be the interim general manager.
Then you do with that.
It's y'all's decision, it ain't mine. I mean, it's just out of it.
You're still a part of this, so.
And you are, you know you are. You are this team.
It's just a big responsibility.
It is a huge responsibility, but we need everybody to come together on this and help the whole entire team to get through this. Because this is only a stepping stone, because the board has got to appoint a new general manager long term.
I mean, Heather's stepping up to the plate too. This is a conversation we had yesterday when we were dealing with the grant study. It had nothing to do, nothing with whatever the money. You know, Heather's gonna have to step up to this. I mean, we're throwing stuff on her shoulders, and she's gonna have to fill in the pieces if the rest of us can't. So, you know, that's asking a lot from the board too, to ask the chair, but I guess she's tougher than I am. So, but I recognize that.
But I don't intend to do this for long, so I plan for it to be,
What?
I plan to, I'm not saying I'm taking this position, giving this position to you yet. So, but what, what I am saying is we have an interim motion for one, and I don't plan on helping the interim general manager as much. I don't plan on helping the general manager as much as I plan on being down here with the interim.
That's completely different. Ball of wax. I mean,
But I,
Hurry up and find.
the permanent general
yeah,
manager.
we're gonna find somebody.
The general manager's salary is gonna reflect the level of his responsibility.
The crew needs to be run by the crew needs to run itself, and they need a great general manager to lead them. And when that permanent position and in the interim position too. We have a lot of great candidates. You have a motion on the floor.
We've had it twice, so we're not getting to that first.
So who's the first and who's the second? He mumbled his first one, so I couldn't have written it down.
I was just throwing it out there, y'all worded how you. I didn't want to,
So is that, so you have the first,
I'll take the responsibility for, or the blame. However it may be.
and then we have. Kendra, you got, Ms. Stafford, take the second one. Comfortable with the second. We have a first and a second on the floor. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Sir, you have the floor now.
This ought to go over like a lead balloon.
Have the conversation you let's talk about tonight.
Well, I feel like it's a little overdue. I could be the most unpopular person in the room for saying it, but I know that this board does a lot of work. There's a lot of work other than the time we spend in this room that each individual does put into making informed decisions when we're in here. I do know that I feel like our compensation should be more commensurate to the amount of time we put into this, and also to bring us in line with other boards, committees, commissions, and whatnot in the county.
Do you know what everybody else wants?
I know county commissioners get $100 for a commission meeting. Am I correct?
Maybe 120.
120. Just got better.
Let's say between 100 and 120.
What about the other committees?
Yeah, what about committees?
I believe that's 30.
30. I ain't taking a pay cut.
Now, those are what are those the commission members that are on committees or the other boards? I mean,
No,
let's
that's
see.
all.
So
Planning's 30.
Board of Zoning and Bill, I didn't get anything except swung out by Big Pen.
Maybe 30.
Again, I may be the most unpopular person in the room. I feel like $100 a meeting is fair. Also looking down the line with our 20-year plan, the deeper we get into it, the more it's gonna take as a board, the more it's gonna require of us as board members. And just throwing it out there, just being realistic, as people come and go on the board, we've had a little turnover just in the 3 or 4 years I've been here. I don't think it would move the needle a whole lot, but it might entice somebody that might have been on the fence about becoming involved, you know, if it paid a little better, if there was a little more cream on it, just, I'll say it. We deserve a
I
raise.
understand it, point of myself and pro tem are not comments. That's correct. That is correct.
No, Lonnie is. You're the only one. that-
Lon-
Man, you got to renegotiate your deal.
Yes.
Pro tem is,
He needs a
I
man.
mean, that. Okay, what is it current?
50, and that's within the ordinance. And, so that is something we'll have, if it were altered, then we would have to go back to the county court and ask permission.
So we have an ordinance to go on board. Right.
Let me look into it.
That doesn't sound right.
It's in the, it's in ordinance 1862020.
It said by ordinance.
It's said in the ordinance is what it is.
Can you email me a copy of that?
I've had 3 copies all day with me and I left the folder over there.
So if you want to say ordinance, you can, you know.
I'm not. I'm not.
If you get in the middle of that, then you have to get in the middle of board makeup too. So as far as the court's really not supposed to be on the board.
Which that takes
Yeah,
me,
you do, so.
so
Does the court approve appointments from the water board?
the mayor,
It doesn't go.
Oh, no, they do.
You want unemployment?
Well, this was tough because it was a, you know, an enterprise standalone fund by itself, and then their government took it back in and sort of wrote the rules before every, you know.
Yeah, it really muddied the water.
And he can tell you that, and I sat through those 2.5 hour meetings too, and I had it going like this. I mean, where's that?
And then we should never have got put any utility insurance. It hurt us on money, it hurt us on wildlife.
And see, they made the makeup of the board at the time, so that's how the 2 county board members got put on it, the mayor and the pro tem.
the way it currently reads on that, on another topic that I wanted to bring up is that it says the 4th Tuesday of each month and it's 5 p.m. But it gives a line of chairman may change the date and time. So it gives us that leniency to have that changed without going back.
And you used to be on Wednesday, 10 a.m.
And so let me get back with Mr. Wall and talk about, and go back and talk about, because I'm not,
breakfast.
we don't have that line
A
of
long time.
this amount can only be changed upon approval of the county commission is the last line. So if we want to go through this and we'll email this to you all
But
and see if there's anything else we need to update on this. This
since it's
was created in,
budget time, if we,
That was like Stephen had something to do with that one.
He did.
That's how I saw his name.
I saw them.
So he changed.
since we're coming up on budget and they have to approve our budget, if we changed it in our budget, is that not the same?
More or less is the approval process for our budget's more just a rubber stamp. It's not a,
Exactly.
correct. It's our budget.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's,
I'll let you fight for that, I'll go behind you on that one.
Well, I said my piece.
so I'm gonna ask that with your request for board member compensation, we also look at the ordinance individually and see if there's anything else we might want to tweak and that.
Well, if that's the case, then I feel like our next regular meeting, we need to, in between now and then, we all need to. Cause I'm sure there's more in there that we'd like to, if we're gonna get something changed. Right.
I totally agree with you.
And it also states that, our position is to appoint the general manager. We also have the eligibility to go in and, contracts, consultants, those type of things. Those, it gives a long detail of what we're eligible to assist the department with. But yet anyone underneath the general manager is the department's responsibility or hiring, just so it goes.
That was done a couple of administrations ago to stop overreach from the mayor's office. No disrespect to current administration.
I've had this conversation.
Okay.
We had a little problem when I was a commissioner.
Don't understand.
Can you keep that?
Yeah.
And we may just make you.
I was gonna email it to you, but you
And so we may just make you the committee.
can- Yeah.
See, now we're gonna save electricity. What?
We just make you the committee.
What?
Raise your hand, you got
The
the
ordinance committee.
Oh, okay. Well, y'all won't change.
We'll make a list. Anybody have any questions or concerns on, the employee handbook was on there just as a cross-reference of the event that we need to discuss. The employee handbook and the ordinance so that we knew our legal reach to do for this. General manager's position. Next order of business is public comments. And we're only eligible to discuss agenda items, which I think that's the only reason y'all are here. So do the two of y'all have anything else?
I do want to say one thing that it's gonna be a lot harder than y'all think it's gonna be to find somebody. If you have the qualifications that we had last time, because they're not out there anymore. I mean, people can't pass the test. People make so much money, they're not gonna want to come here for what we pay. Just keep that in mind, it might not be as quick a fix as you think it's gonna be.
Well, and I think if we reach out to TAUD, we might get some. No, I just need some direction on what to ask for, that kind of stuff, so. Yeah,
I've already tried to talk to some people that I thought might be interested in it, you know, with the license and stuff, and I can't find anybody that's really.
well,
When they asked what the time you got paid, they're like, they work as a operator of a water plant, and make up some slice on what we make, so. It's gonna be hard to find somebody.
well, we appreciate you both very much. Mr. President, do you have anything? Right. You've got my phone number, you know, I think you've probably got the board's number as well, if you've got any questions or concerns.
Then to adjourn.
Board member comments? Then we can adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Let's adjourn, all in favor, go home.
Then we can have